you likely had magical items before you get Armorer to 50, and Armorer is your ability to repair your own items, which you'll have to do a lot of because things break fairly easily here. Meaning that if you say start your Oblivion Gates, get some Sigil Stones, turn some of your items into magic items, you might suddenly find in the original that you can't repair your own stuff anymore and have to take it to a shop and pay for it, whereas this change to Armorer means that as long as you're using Armorer at a relatively low level of 25 for the skill, you can now keep your magic items properly repaired as you were doing previously, which is another great example of a small change that has a relatively huge impact to gameplay to fix something that would have been really annoying, and was annoying as a matter of fact. So simply put, they changed a lot of the perk system, and by and large, I'm a really big fan of those changes. I think they did a good job with them. But that does
You'll
bring
need a
us to
top-notch
the sort of
team to win
gameplay
this
and
one.
world section
Who are you
here,
calling
where
a
there are some
raccoon,
major things I want to talk about, because they also, in addition to simply making the world look better, made a lot of changes to actual gameplay at the same time. But the first thing I want to talk about is, again, probably the largest change, which is the actual level scaling. So outside of the character creation, the leveling up stuff that we've already talked about, the other thing the original game did that made those problems, which were honestly not that different from Morrowind's, much more of an issue, is the way the level scaling of the actual world works. That is to say, enemies and items level with you, both in terms of what drops, but also unique items that higher quality items have better and better effects.
But sometimes
Some of
we
that is
take
still
stuff
here,
other
but the
people
worst
are
of this has
garbage.
been addressed.
30
So
seconds
that it
before
is
you
not
attack.
completely like
Get
the
ready.
scaling, it is still in fact here, but it is better overall. So the problem the original game really had, perhaps the biggest, was that some enemies are what are called leveled enemies. A lot of enemies like Ratchenstein, they have a maximum level of enemies yet again. Cool that they would ever release. This ensures things like rats are always pretty easy to kill. However, some enemies, like Goblin Warlords, for example,
battle starts
or
in
Minotaur
5,
Lords, etc.,
4,
are what are known
3,
as levels.
2,
They are always
1.
of a level based on a relatively
Anyone going to hold? Come get that vehicle to its destination.
specifically level 26. Once you got above level 26,
I don't think I'm gonna like them very much.
while damage has pretty well been
now I see them.
if you were playing the game properly, you yourself would likely be very, very hard to kill, especially on normal, given just the sheer amount of damage.
I never believed Loki's actually down.
You're welcome.
Above level 26,
these weird
despite the
keyhole
damage
things
being
anyway.
maxing
I
out
blew up
thanks
a
to the way the
keyhole.
calculations and stuff and like with weapons and attributes, enemies would just keep gaining health
play.
every
That's
level, which meant you were dealing as much damage as you were likely ever going to be able to do, and yet
Armor
if you kept
patch here.
leveling to
You're
max
halfway
skills
there.
and stuff,
Keep going.
enemies would only ever gain more health, making them just these gigantic tanks. You don't have to worry about that in the remastered version because their health has been drastically reduced.
Oh, someone scratch my back.
But
Almost there.
usually is
Don't
not.
turn back now.
Enemies have vastly reduced health
See?
and a little bit of
Blocking
damage
health.
as well. It's an adept before it starts going crazy expert.
Welcome to Rocket's Tree Service.
So simply put, those changes
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
your creation or leveling up works means that you don't find yourself in a situation where enemies would not only potentially outgrow your character for much of the game, then at the end of the game gain infinite amounts of health, but instead maintain a much more manageable approach throughout the game, allowing you, the hero or the protagonist, to play the game the way you actually want to play the game, instead of having troops to efficiently level and sort of side meaning that if you want to level up with maximum bonuses,
not
which were
gonna make
ironically
it
not
easy.
something you could do with the base warrior class, as an example.
Us against the
Hopefully,
world.
if you can
Shield up.
tell from
ready
all of
for
those errors, it's simply better overall.
Pulse
charge! Fire! Most egregious of Oblivion College. Now, since we are in the game for the more section, as I mentioned, this game still feels like Oblivion, and that is, I think, so important
We got
for
an
game
arm.
rankings.
You're welcome.
Going into
You're halfway
it,
there.
my
Keep
biggest
going.
concern is that, yeah, there's probably
This is real firepower!
I'm ready to put on a show.
Little pieces of keyhole armor packs here. Hey up!
the engine. This absolutely feels just like a real game. Janky, radiant, AI, and all. And for those unfamiliar,
You're welcome.
AI is basically the system that governs independence. In some ways, this is just a game system where characters
One life. am ready to put on a show!
NPCs have little attributes associated with them that control their behavior in certain other situations.
Not sure how we'll solve this.
Oh, I'm not gonna make it easy.
Steal something from another NPC and for the guards to get involved. Some characters have
I'll
more
patch you up.
elaborate schedules as well. There's a couple that actually travel from town
Watch
to
this
town,
spot.
handling a couple things, which can unfortunately lead to
vehicle
their
moving
untimely
again.
demise depending on what's going on in the wilderness. And then
A little help,
other
please.
well-known things
Another
is the sort of
unsuspecting
random
foe.
conversations that could happen between
You're
all
ready
these
for
NPCs,
action.
where they would sort of
look like they
regurgitate
need
This
a lot
is a
of
nice
just odd
spot.
dialogue.
Here is an enemy. I can heal you.
Such as the blockade of goods happening in the Somerset Isles. Except the thing is, all of that dialogue could be just incredibly
Sure how we'll solve
weird.
You're welcome.
I didn't see it happen in the remaster anywhere, but in the original, it actually wasn't impossible for NPC
Shields
to
up!
have a conversation with another NPC who was
Feeling fantastic.
Us against the world.
between a corpse and another NPC. Another thing that
Pulse
actually
charge. Fire.
thanks to the system causing all these NPCs
This is real fire
By the
power.
eye of Agamotto!
One less odds, one less problem.
I unleash the Vishanti's power.
The moon haunts you!
That's 3!
All of those characters sound exactly the way they did because they basically remastered the audio and
Rockets
reused it.
launching
Whereas
again.
for regular, more normal citizenry, NPCs who, let's be honest, they either have few lines or their voice just isn't terribly important, were changed or potentially changed, given new voice actors to sort of simply diversify the voice acting pool, meaning that you would
Get
hear
that
more
vehicle
voices,
moving again.
especially for each race,
I'll
instead of
patch
like,
you
the
up.
same three
That
or
put a
four
spring in my
over
step?
and over and over again. It sounds like a little thing, but it
Feeling
goes a long way.
fantastic.
Surprisingly
Magic
so,
on?
especially in combination with the
My good deed for the
like
day.
Patrick Stewart for the actual Emperor and the Emperor, John
Relay
Hughes for
deployed.
Martin, of course,
It ain't
and the
cheap.
list goes on. And it really does add
You're
something
ready
to
to
it.
act.
I wouldn't ever say it was terrible or anything, but this is better by a lot. Another sort of gameplay and world thing is that
Your
they did
powers are mine.
the UI as well. In some places, even more intuitive and use a lot of the be a more Skyrim-esque style, which I think people have gotten used to, as opposed to everything kind of being on the very left, like the menu bump, and it would just be a bunch
Only
of
60
text
seconds
icons
left.
that didn't know what they meant or had a bad memory, I suppose, could be an issue. Whereas here, everything's sort of clearly labeled, and outside of a few little annoyances, mostly feels better, I would say. But speaking of UI elements, then we have the sort of mini-games, the notorious persuasion mini-game, the lockpicking mini-game, and they
First, I have opened the portal.
which means
Get
outside
that
of some
vehicle
visual
moving
improvements,
again.
on the speech mini-games,
Asgard's might!
Shields up! I am ready to put on a show! No more delay.
Culture can resist Doctor Strange. I unleash the Vishanti's power!
Our foes have arrived. But outside of this,
Let's hope
bribing
those ghosts will final 10
lockpicking
seconds!
is one with another, thanks to earlier request, you don't have to and probably last but not least before you move on, let's talk
We'll
a
have to
little
keep
bit
fighting
about
until we have a winner.
So technically, items are also skills per player. So this is obvious. You don't find the best tiers of weapons until you are enemies alongside sets like glass for light armor, etc. That is still
Come, my minion.
The moon haunts you! By the eye...
The current score is
But
1,
yes, logically
2,
in the game
0.
of Oblivion gates with literal portals to hell.
Time
opening
to
up
switch
across the
things up,
landscape, a
including
bandit
which
having
side
gear they
you're
shouldn't be
on.
able to afford is clearly the most fantastical.
I will
thing
bring
about it.
peace
Now,
to-
luckily,
The right heroes
though,
could make
these
all the
bandits,
difference.
thanks to
Who are
the
you calling a
changes to
raccoon,
things
huh?
like all the level scaling and leveling up that we've already went over, don't pose as much of a challenge as they did previously, which means these guys aren't some insane challenge for you either. so that's important to know. But the other side of item scaling is that unique items are actually leveled based on when you pick them up. This means that, say, if I'm level 5 and I pick up a unique item from a quest versus I'm level 26 when I pick it up, there are going to be some very different versions of that item.
Heroes a little roguish and
That
scrubbed,
is still
like
here.
me.
Honestly kind of annoying, and I wish they would give you some sort of option that allowed you to re-level those. In fact, the Knights of the Nine DLC, which has been out since the original, allows
They'll be
you to
coming
do
in
that
30
with the
seconds.
items
Stay
from
strong.
that DLC. They give you like this armor stand to put this set of armor and gear that you
People
get
think they can
onto,
see right
and then when you
through
pick
me.
it back up off
bet
that
you've
stand,
heard
it
that
re-levels
before
it
too,
to your
Emma.
current level. I wish they would do something like that for the base game so you could get some of these quest rewards properly leveled up as well as you progress
Well,
throughout the game
from
to
one
kind of
mother to
have
another.
both worlds
me
in
see
there,
you
where you don't
already
get some insanely
check.
strong item at level 1 if you know
The
it
battle
costs
starts
something,
in
but also
5,
you don't want
4,
to wait to do certain
3,
quests because
2,
the item's going to suck if
1.
you don't. A good example here is a quest in the City of Coral.
You need to stop
A
that
little
vehicle
quest
in its
game
tracks.
involving two twin brothers who will box each other and can find each other and you can get involved in history and who their father was.
One of these weird people things anyway. Sorry. Don't mind me. I'm just dying.
Feeling fantastic.
So that system is still present, yes, and then kind of sucks.
I'll patch you up.
That in all of those scenarios, both the items and the enemies kind of hit their maximum around
Knight's
level
on, I
19
presume?
for most of them, and then some of it scales a little farther up to 26. So once you hit that point, which is pretty easy to do given the new leveling system,
You're ready for that?
getting the best reward. So at that point, there actually still isn't much of a reason to ever cast it if you don't want to, but unlike pretty much needing to stop it, you don't have to worry about going past that. Leveled enemies won't turn into unkillable gods among men, or more. All of that said, though, let's move on a little bit, talk about some other world stuff, just to give some quick thoughts
I'm not
before we
gonna
jump
make
into
it easy.
combat and the changes there. So most of Oblivion's best stuff is actually outside of the main quest, and is really down to just exploration and finding it. These are the guild quests, the Daedric quests, a lot of really fantastic side quests. In fact, even the achievement list won't show you most of these, given that it's pretty much all for the faction quest lines. If you want to hit the best content, it's basically the Daedric quests, the Brotherhood
There's still a
quest
chance
line
to stop them.
alongside the Shivering Isles DLC. That stuff is like quintessential This Is Oblivion content. So I would start there if that's what you're after. The other stuff I mostly wanted to mention in regards
They
to
hit a checkpoint.
change
Now
the
might be
stuff with the remaster. And the answer there is, not really. Some of it works a little better. There's still a couple small things that might happen here or there, but by and large they remain.
Just what the doctor
So you
ordered.
can go in the Mages Guild, the Fighters Guild, the Brotherhood. Technically, the arena is considered a guild, but it's mostly just a series of fights. And then, of course, the Knights of the Nine as part of that DLC. Now, again, I've shared my thoughts on all of these in that prior review. I don't want to rehash
You're
it
welcome.
completely here,
Feeling
but I did want to
fantastic.
mention just a couple of things. One,
We've got
slight
trouble.
spoiler,
Armor
the main
here.
villain here,
Hey,
at the end, you fight a guy named Malamar. He's supposed to be this really sinister figure that
Watch
in
this
Daggerfall
spot.
has a much more intimidating Oblivion. He was kind of just some guy when you got to him. They did actually make some changes to his character model in this remaster beyond just the changes that everyone got that made him look a little more intimidating. It was a little underwhelming in comparison to what I was hoping they would do with him.
Perfection
but he
is
does actually look
unattainable,
a fair
but
bit
that should
better
not
here.
stop
I
us
wanted
from
to
trying.
The moon! Maximum pulse!
I am ready to put on a show.
No big changes there, but it
Final
does just look
score.
a lot better.
1,
than the
2,
font, so.
2.
Same thing with the Fighters Guild. That quest line always was really, really good, surprisingly so, but never had any big visuals associated with it. so
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
crazy. But I will say, a lot of these visual changes, especially ending to the bonuses, make the Knights of the Nine DLC quests a lot more interesting, especially visually. Here in this sort of Frankenstein of an engine of representing the Aurorans and Umaril the Unfeathered. They have a much cooler model there, so that's something to know. Now, before we move on to combat, a little bit about Daedric Quest. We're not going to go over every one or anything, but just a couple of notes. So, in Oblivion, Daedric Quests are sort of, if you haven't already found them, introduced via the main quest. Essentially, they all take place at shrines in Oblivion. Outside of Mehrunes Dagon, who acts as the antagonist and technically has a small DLC quest you can do to get the Mehrunes Razor, the other 15 princes have a shrine you have to go to. Some of these you can just interact with normally, others require an offering in order to get them to talk to you, and some even have level requirements. The content of some of these quests is pretty good, others not so much, but given the Daedric artifacts as a reward, plus the content, the quest being a little more interesting than usual, Molag Balls has always been a favorite of mine. Sanguines is really funny, where you turn a noble ball into a suddenly everyone's only in their underwear style party via a spell, was always pretty funny. But the last one you'll always wind up doing is Hermaeus Moros, because the sort of offering you need to go do his is simply doing all of the other Daedric quests. Now, I wanted to mention his specifically because I actually ran into a bug here that I'd never experienced before, where his quest just stopped working. You're supposed to gather from a bunch of different races, and it just wouldn't let me do that here for some reason, so I thought that was worth to mention. So, in terms of how you acquire these quests, I actually think Sky...
Turning entire nations against yourself isn't an easy task, yet Johnny Somali has somehow managed to do just that. He was given multiple opportunities to turn things around, but instead he decided to continue being a complete degenerate who lacks even the most basic human decency. It was only a matter of time before he faced the consequences of his actions. That time is finally here, and his fate is far worse than he could have ever imagined. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we're diving into the latest updates in the Johnny Somali saga, the high likelihood of him rotting in foreign prison for years, and how he's actively making the situation worse for himself.
Say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm mentally ill. I don't know what's going on. I have a bipolar disorder.
But as you'll see by the end of this video, all this could just be the beginning of something far more disastrous for Johnny. Now, I've already covered the Johnny Somali situation in great detail, but if you haven't watched that video, here's a super quick recap. Ramsey Khalid Ismail, better known as Johnny Somali,
hero do
wanted
you
to
think
become
you
a
wanna be
globe-trotting
today?
content creator, but when travel vlogging didn't work out for him, he came up with a genius plan to be as insufferable as humanly possible, in the hopes of farming viral clips. He took the mantra
Be
"all publicity
wary.
is good
No
publicity" to heart
timeline
and found his
exists
first
where
target
Magneto
country, Japan.
yields.
There, he did every
Now,
obnoxious
who
thing he
am I
could
gonna
think of,
banish
from
from this
harassing
match?
passengers on a train,
You know, Hiroshima. Nagasaki. You know, why you do this? Pearl Harbor?
to being a complete racist.
What is in Mulan language? What does it say? This is in Mulan language. What does it say? I thought that was an error. Real NPC activity right now. It's hella NPCs out here. This is crazy. These are NPCs, guys. We with the NPCs right now, bro. I'm with the NPCs out here. I'm with the NPCs out here. Really with the NPCs. Hey, these are all NPCs, bro.
All while streaming everything for the world to see. He also began terrorizing local businesses,
Hawaii, 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 Hawaii. Hawaii, Hawaii. Hawaii, Hawaii. Chinese phone.
an act that would later become one of the reasons for his demise.
The right
After
heroes
weeks
could
of
make
being a
all the
complete
difference.
he eventually got arrested and was forced to leave the country after paying a relatively small fine. He followed this up by going to Israel and sinking to a whole new level of depravity, with things like chasing cupcakes,
Hi, I'm too young for you again.
How old are you?
Open your eyes. Reality
harassing
is but
female
an
cops,
illusion.
You a bad. I swear to God. You
Be
a bad.
wary.
I take you to
No
dinner.
timeline
I swear to
exists
God.
where
I swear to God, I'll
Magneto
change your life. I'll
yields.
change your life, baby. Baby, I'll change your life. I promise you. You a bad.
and even threatening to SA them in public.
I'll slap that. I grab it too. Donald Trump told me grab it by the. Yeah, I grab that too. Stop playing with me.
However, after the locals started enacting their own justice on him and his cameraman,
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
he had no choice but to flee the country. But since he walked away practically scot-free in both Japan and Israel, he figured why not push his luck again, this time in South Korea. He kicked off his visit by desecrating a statue dedicated to Korean women who were forced into SA slavery
starts
during
in
World
5,
War II, harassing an
4,
elderly
3,
convenience store
2,
employee,
1. You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
before openly telling him angry locals to take a swing on him.
I feel like myself again.
What he didn't realize was that the Korean people were more than happy to take him up on his challenge. Leaving him bloody and bruised. Then, just when he thought things couldn't get any worse, he was arrested and charged with multiple counts of obstruction of business and more. The Korean authorities took away his streaming equipment and seized his passport to prevent him from leaving the country. This brings us to the present, and a lot has happened since my last video. When he was arrested back in November of 2024, many people, including myself, speculated that the Korean government was going to make an example of him. After all, this was their chance to show other douchebag IRL streamers that Korea wasn't a public content farm, where they could do whatever they want and walk away without any consequences. Fortunately for them, Johnny is going out of his way to dig his own grave. As a comment on YouTube from Tozy points out, Johnny started falling down the staircase about 2 years ago, and is somehow still falling down that same staircase currently. You see, he was scheduled to stand trial on March 7th, 2025. You'd think he'd lay low and keep his nose clean while waiting for his day in court. But Johnny couldn't help himself. 10 days before the trial, he went ahead and committed yet another crime by filming his porn site in his Discord. For those who don't know, the creation, promotion, and distribution of explicit material is completely illegal in South Korea. That said, he still had some plausible deniability if this ever came up in court. He could have argued that he shared the link accidentally and that it wasn't meant to be a promotion or distribution of explicit material. But as is tradition with Johnny, he immediately destroyed any chance he could have. Seconds after posting the link, he sends 2 more messages. Need all my N-words to do, and next a business venture. Essentially admitting
Your powers are mine!
Against the world!
It's almost like he wants his sentence to be as long as possible.
Against the world!
Right now, Johnny Somali's biggest enemy, and not his haters, not the authorities, not legal mindset, it's himself. He is the one who's making cases against himself and producing/recording his own crimes. However, this wasn't even the worst thing he did leading up to the trial. The night before, he went live and managed to incriminate himself into murder while revealing his plan to trick the Korean court system. According to Johnny, all he had to do was plead insanity, and the Korean government would set him free with a small fine.
When I go to the judge tomorrow, he say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm mentally ill.
Only 60 seconds left.
What's going on? I have a bipolar
He stopped him in their tracks.
I feel like myself again.
America. I don't know what's happening, Your Honor.
Render me assistance.
Help me. I don't have.
Obviously, this was never going to work. The only reason Johnny thought he could get away with something this absurd was because he's a complete racist. He genuinely sees Asians as inferior and wants them to get exterminated.
I hate Asians. I think all Asians should be exterminated.
Even if we give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he knew his insanity claim wouldn't work, the mere fact that he's going to lie to court will likely influence the outcome of his trial. As a comment on YouTube stated, only an idiot like Johnny would stream his plan to try and get off scot-free for the authorities to find. But this was only the beginning. As the stream went on, Johnny continued digging a deeper hole for himself. For instance, at one point during the stream,
I am ready to put on a show!
streaming and accepting donations, even though he's completely banned from doing so.
It's the grand. The current score is 0-2.
I don't give a
0.
I don't give a
Time to switch
Send
things
that
up,
to the prosecutor.
including which side
My
you're
live
on.
stream donators, they gonna get it rich
Be
and
wary.
oiled.
No
they
timeline
feel bad
exists
that
where
I've been locked
Magneto
here.
yields.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Is making money. Yeah, don't lock me in the country, Korean corrupt ass government.
He also kept drinking to the point of throwing up on stream.
Give me all the first viral moments of it. Oh my God, I threw up everything. Y'all
It's worth noting that he was doing all of this just hours before his trial, and as you might imagine, it didn't end well for him. YouTubers Atozy and Legal Mindset both traveled to South Korea to attend the trial in person. According to them,
30
Johnny came
seconds
to the
before you
trial
attack.
looking like an
Get ready.
absolute buffoon, wearing an oversized suit and a MAGA hat. He also showed up an hour late, most likely because he was drunk from the stream he did just hours before. The only person who came with him was his Korean roommate and friend Hank Yu, a man who's known as the Asian Nazi as he became famous for singing a deeply racist song while wearing a Confederate uniform. Atozy and Legal Mindset also revealed that Johnny was in a rather jolly mood as he entered the courtroom. He even spotted the two YouTubers and started making faces at them when they continued to
I'll get that vehicle to its destination.
Right, yeah, when he walked in.
And then on the bench, he made a face directly at me. And in front of everybody. He looked to us.
Yeah.
However, his smile disappeared the moment the judge started listening to the charges. The first charge against him is for obstruction of business. This is from when he started causing a commotion in a convenience store by spilling water all over the table,
You are under my protection.
Thanks for the shield.
throwing noodles at other customers,
It's okay. Admit it.
disrespecting
You
a
need
store
me.
employee,
Final score: 1-2-0.
and being a massive nuisance in general.
Another epic victory.
To make matters worse, the employee he harassed was simply trying to inform him that it's illegal to drink alcohol in convenience stores. In other words, not only did he break the Korean law, he also mistreated the person trying to help him. The second charge is for harassing the public with a rotting fish in his hand. He got on a bus with this fish and kept approaching random people to get a reaction out of them. The final charge against him was for lewd behavior in public. This included his antics on local trains and buses, as well as the vile dance he did in front of the Statue of Peace. Surprisingly, Johnny immediately folded and pleaded guilty to all three charges. Altogether, these can send him behind bars for anywhere between 1 and 5 years. Maybe he realized that there was nothing he could do or say to avoid conviction for these charges, so he pleaded guilty to get it over with instead of dragging the case out further. However, what he didn't realize is that he was in for a shocking surprise,
Which
because
hero
as
do
it
you
turns
think you
out,
wanna be
the
today?
prosecutors had filed a fourth charge that neither Johnny nor his lawyer were aware of.
The unexpected fourth charge. The judge asks Ramsey if he's received the letter of the fourth charge. Both Ramsey and his lawyer appear confused.
His lawyer asked for more time to review this new charge. The
am I
judge
gonna
accepted
banish
this
from this
request and
match?
scheduled the next hearing on the 9th of April. As for why they surprised him with a new charge like this, Legal Mindset has a theory that seems quite plausible. According to him, now that Johnny has pleaded guilty, he can be tried as a repeat offender for the new charge, making it easier to give him a punishment. And if that's not bad enough, he might face 2 more charges on top of this. One for creating explicit deepfake videos of several Korean content creators, including streamer Bongbong IRL,
Girlfriend, look, you see? Y'all niggas jealous, y'all niggas getting pussy like this.
and another for threatening gang rape to a girl in public. As for Johnny, he's not handling the news well. He initially went into denial, trying to convince himself that he won't get any jail time for what he thinks are extremely minor crimes.
Showed up drunk, I showed up happy. Like, the charges that they have me put on, the charges that they have me for are such minor, minuscule charges. It's obstruction of, like, bro, spilling a cup of noodles, carrying a fish. But they got me for, like, spilling a cup of noodles. They got me for carrying a stinky fish. They got me for some, bro, like, this is, you can't go to jail for that in any country.
However, the weight of the situation is finally sinking in. He'll likely spend years trapped in a Korean prison, and he knows there's nothing he can do to avoid his fate. So now, he's pretending to be some master criminal whose evil knows no bounds. That said, it's all likely a ploy to farm donations from the few people who still tune into his stream.
Y'all give me the support and the donations and the love, the power chats, the crypto
We'll be
donations.
coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
I'm ready, bro. If y'all want chaos, let me be your conduit. Let me be your bastion of evil. If you want to see anarchy, if you're an anarchist, and you want somebody that is gonna crash out with no remorse, with no sense of self-worth, with no sense of self-preservation.
Maybe some part of him still thinks he'll walk away with just a slap on the wrist, but from everything we've seen so far, it's clear the Korean government has no intention of letting that happen.
Johnny Smalley,
You need to stop that
having
vehicle
a
in
really
its
bad
tracks.
time. Let me just say that. He has been having an extremely bad time.
It's safe to say that this live streamer in the world just realized he destroyed his life chasing internet attention in South Korea as things have somehow
I
got...
don't think that's true because that would imply that he's capable of self-reflection, which is usually something that people above an age have the ability to do.
Getting here could
And
cause
so
massive
it's like the
destruction.
idea, like, could a Game Boy run The Witcher 3?
What touch of healing?
It just doesn't. It's just not.
spinning, I'm
right? I
spinning.
just can't. I can't believe it.
I'll
Yeah,
stop
no
this thing
way.
in its tracks.
And even worse for Johnny Smalley out there. Yes, not only has he been slapped with more charges, but one of these new charges, they come with a mandatory prison sentence for misdemeanor convicted. Considering South Korea has about a 99% conviction rate, it's not like you really need to be a legal expert to see where all of this is going. But what makes all of this even dumber is the fact that Johnny, just like everything
Clearly, you
else,
needed
Those
some
guys are
live
about to.
streaming.
You're ready for
just like
action.
how he live streamed himself pranking on the police for $5, how he live streamed himself.
$5? What a cheap bitch!
Enemy located.
Oh my god!
Instructing workers, stalking other streamers, showing up late to his own
I'll
trial
patch
after
you up.
drunkenly insulting the judge and prosecutors.
While this is also the other stream where he just the end of this stream
Ready to get
was
your
him
yarn
throwing
on?
up on the floor, and then everybody
better.
was mad at him.
Someone scratch my back.
Show!
This is real firepower. On
Understand that what he's doing is wrong. I don't like that when I see a person
You're welcome.
with a fully automatic submachine gun and they got it aimed at their foot and they've got their finger on the trigger holding it down, just shooting themselves
I am ready to put on a show!
I think to myself, there's no way this is
I'll
like,
patch you up.
there's got to be something wrong here. Yes, he's got to play the insanity card.
Feeling fantastic.
Especially because he's already pleaded guilty to 2 charges in the exact same case. Back 5 criminal charges in just a few months, all of which could send him to prison for years, all for the attention of like, what, 20 teenagers online. But on top of that, and we're also talking about a new investigation which could lead to another decade in prison for him. So it's safe to
They
say
hit checkpoint.
Again, look
Now
at that.
might be a good time to
Child
stop them.
harassment. Oh boy.
for him. So it's safe to say things are just not going his way over there. And speaking of doing stupid stuff live, he also leaked the conversation between his pretend lawyer and his real lawyer. Lies. So it's safe to say things are becoming
Better
more...
stop that vehicle!
What do you have? What?
You're ready for action.
What the hell? More and more telling him how screwed he really is. And this whole nonchalant act is in fact nothing more than just an act. It's going to backfire on him massively. So let's get into this
Feeling
disaster.
fantastic.
As of right now, I saw him pleading guilty to 3 charges last time I traveled to South Korea. This was for disruption of business revolving around the incident at 7-Eleven in Mapo that we actually
In
did.
my opinion, this is the, when we're talking about El Salvador,
You might want to look over here.
Yes.
I'll patch you up. All right.
He stopped them in their tracks.
Much better. Don't mind me. I'm just dying. Your powers are mine. Assemble! Assemble! This is real firepower.
I don't think that's welcoming him from Subway, and one for shoving the rotten fish in people's faces and blasting music on a public bus. And since then,
so wait a minute. This is like
Feeling fantastic.
So he has this random idiot with a camera holding a dead fish, and he's trying to run at people and annoy them, and he doesn't.
Armed and
It's
dangerous.
something out of a cartoon.
I'll patch you up.
Really, like there are crackheads with more composure.
Much better. Needed that, thanks.
He needs to just plead insane.
That helped.
Yakuza side mission? Yes.
You're ready for action.
he's been hit with even more charges. His deepfake charge, which carries a minimum of 3 years convicted. Then there's another obstruction of business charge involving latte work. And then on top of that, to make things even worse for the dude, there's a new investigation that can give him an additional 10.5 years in prison if they end up going through and charging him with this. And that investigation is for child harassment. And this revolves in
Judge, jury, executioner! This is real firepower! Don't mind me. I'm just dying. You're welcome.
Only 60 seconds left.
Six Flags gives him this clip to walk around that.
He's going into the starter zone.
Leave them to crush you!
I'll patch you up. That's not even fair.
My good deed for the
In
day.
the game, you would get banned for this. This is horrible.
Consider me unimpressed.
And you know what? This is probably still going to end up on the losing end.
Feeling fantastic.
From his mouth, it's gotten him in so much trouble in Japan. And he lets people donate to use him as a proxy to harass kids in the worst way possible. He doesn't understand humanity.
This is the same person that was spamming
This is real firepower!
getting the mad because they take out bombs.
My good deed for the
You'll
day.
have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
I'm just dying. You're ready for that?
I was fine, but thank you.
No one can if he did it. It's
My good deed for the day.
Saying, at the end of the day, it's still on him. He's allowed himself to be this vessel for these completely unacceptable interactions. The last thing you want is, taking your kids to some place.
Are we winning?
To be harassed
I know
through
I'm
some
having a
dude's
great
speaker,
time.
Us against the world.
filming and live streaming your kid's reaction for the entire internet.
sexually harassing
The current
PBS
score
targeting
is
children.
0-2-1. Time to switch things up, including
hell
which
is
side
going
you're
on?
on.
This
Who
is
are
so
you
weird.
calling a raccoon, huh?
You'll need a
Just put this
top-notch
guy
team
on
to win
the
this
floor. What are
one.
we doing? Sitting
Hey,
outside.
that should not be accepted, and that's why it's so important for these streamers to be extremely careful with how they use the text-to-speech feature in public, as they're the ones.
Here's how you should use the text to speech. Here's how you should use the text to speech feature in public. You don't. I'm at the point now where, like, unless I was in a private place, I would
Round
never
two.
use
Count
text to
on
speech
me.
in a public
I
place.
got a plan.
And like the problem
Relay
also is like
deployed.
for me,
It
like I
ain't
don't even
cheap.
live stream IRL at all anymore. Because
This
like once you
deserves your
reach like a
attention.
certain viewer size, it becomes a disruption for everywhere
30
you go.
seconds before you attack.
Like I might
Get
meme
ready.
a lot about things, but like I don't want to go to
You
like
might
a
want to look
Wendy's
over
and then
here.
have the employees get harassed there.
I just wanted to tell you that Tippy Toe
Like,
is
I don't wanna do that.
huge fan.
Your rodent.
Responsible
Is a
for
fan.
whatever comes out of the
How
speaker that's on their
unexpected.
backpack. But in addition to
She
his
says she liked the
public
way you
defendant,
sparkle.
which is essentially the lawyer he's been using up until now, Johnny has now gone
battle
out and got
starts in
himself a
5,
real lawyer.
4,
Well, it seems like his
3,
friend Hank has done
2,
so for him.
1.
And this is what Legal Mindset and some other Korean legal analysts have said about his new lawyer.
First is a public defender in the Western District that is a free attorney that
I'll
is
patch
provided
you
in the
up.
Western
But how
District.
can that vehicle to its destination?
He also has a paid attorney in the Eastern District. Now, the Eastern District charges, as we're going to see, are largely being merged into the Western
I was getting
District.
worried.
So this paid lawyer is unregistered in the West. So this paid lawyer is unaware of the exact proceedings and what's going on in the Western District. So he really...
So he hired a lawyer that doesn't know the case. I immediately believe that. I'll
patch you up.
You know what? That's probably exactly what happened.
He has no idea about what's going on unless he actually people.
This is real firepower!
He is lazy and lazy with his proceedings. Also, people that were in the know and some legal professionals that analyze this, as well as people that look at
Has less of a self-preservation mechanism than
I'm
but you got
armed and dangerous! See, I'm fucking helpful. This is real firepower. You ready?
No complaints.
This lawyer. It appears he's kind of what you might call in the U.S. strip mall lawyer. He's got a very heavy Korean, specific regional accent, which is very hard to understand.
Your powers are mine. This is real firepower.
Concept of merging cases.
So he hasn't cooperated throughout his entire case, and he's only mocked the judge and prosecutors every step of the way. And his new Hail Mary is to hire a strip mall lawyer.
You're ready?
Assemble! Train wreck just somehow keeps on.
This is real firepower.
At the end of the day, would bring home the bacon. Like, he was but he would bring home Saul was good, yeah.
Wrecking. But again, somehow it all gets worse. Because we also found out the prosecutor trying to bring Ron to justice is a top 10 prosecutor in all of Korea.
Magneto!
Bro, he's going up against an S-Ray Hunter.
Team play. That's me.
He not even beat that.
That's better.
Gone.
Another fearsome
This
foe.
is a nice spot. Right now. You don't like it?
The vehicle reached a checkpoint.
They're also
Keep up
saying
the
that
momentum.
law enforcement over there is very hard to work with for him due to John's behavior throughout the whole trial. Then to make things even
Think
worse,
about more than
John's
you know.
lawyer met with the prosecutor to beg them to drop
More
the
bad guys.
deepfake charges.
Just what we need.
It was
Another
too late.
fearsome foe.
Ramsey's lawyer tried to meet with her. Tried to meet with the prosecutor to beg her to drop with the deepfake case. To
You're
beg her to
ready
drop
for
it.
that?
And as we're going to see with the deepfake case, the hilarious thing is, by the time he met with her, it was already too late. The charge had already been indicted, they've already moved on, they've already processed this, so it was too late to even do that meeting, but they were trying to beg her to drop it because they thought she could drop it, but she'd already indicted, and it had already been moved over to the Western District.
My armor's got a lock on a bogey. It's really about time to start apologizing for real and change his way. But unfortunately for John, I feel like that's just way too late for him. As Little Michael explains, the time is
This is
Final score.
deepfake charges
2,
here.
2,
On February
1.
18th, referred the deepfake case to the prosecutor, which means at that point, it's looking pretty solid. And he had that based on the information that Ramsey flashed across the screen. He flashed across a paper which revealed that this was already sent to the prosecutor. And I called it out at the time, and I said, he's probably screwed on this because this is going to go on to court. If something is sent to the prosecutor, it is highly likely you're going to get an indictment. Well, on March 7th, he leaked that, right? And then on the 25th, the Eastern prosecutor indicted Ramsey. On the 27th, that indictment moved from the East.
Which hero do you think you want to be today?
But there's a more important reason that I would stop doing comedy right now. And this reason
Who are
is the
you
real
calling
reason
a
this
raccoon,
one percolates,
huh?
And it really is the crowd, not you. I'm talking about
Now,
the big stage.
who am I gonna
It's too hard
banish
to
from
live
this
in a
match?
country whose ears are so brittle. Motherfuckers are so sensitive. The whole country is turned into bitch-ass niggas. Everything you say upsets somebody. You know, I can remember when it all started. It was when I was doing Chappelle Show. When I was doing Chappelle Show, I used to do the show, and then on the weekends I do like concerts and shit like that. So I'm doing a concert, and there was a couple in the front row, beautiful couple. The wife was obviously Asian. You could see it in her face. The husband, this motherfucker was mysterious, to say the least.
The right heroes can
Like
make
pinpoint
all the
where he was
difference.
from. Caramel-colored fella, very nice hair, but it could have been from anywhere. Bangladesh, Mexico. I can't guess with a nigga like this. All I knew for sure about this guy is that his wife was a bitch. I could see that in her face, too. No, he was laughing and having a good time, and she was scowling at me at a goddamn comedy show. I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized at some point that she was pregnant. And I was smoking on stage. I said, oh my God, that's probably why she's mad. So I started to put myself out. But then she hit me with one of them fake non-smoker calls.
You'll be coming in 30 seconds.
So I just
Stay
kept
strong.
smoking. I thought to myself, bitch, that babe will be fine. Relax.
Rude.
And I tried to break the tension. I just
How do
asked
we
her,
keep
I
ending up in
said,
these
"Hey,
situations?
Where you guys from, anyway?" And I could tell that she was on to me. She goes, very condescending. She says, "I'm from California. If you're asking my ethnicity,
The battle starts in
Your
5,
picture. I am
4,
Chinese."
3,
And her husband
2,
was just cool about it. He
1.
was like, "I'm Mexican,
You
bro."
have to stop them from securing the mission area.
I said, "Well, I'm
Enemy
sorry."
in front of us.
You're very good. The next there's no question you're gonna get done. The hard rock and bed just spread us up.
You're welcome. I just got more dangerous.
Any healing is good.
She got very upset. She got up to leave immediately. But she didn't just leave. She had to take one last dig at me on the way out. I will never buy one of your fucking DVDs again, Dave Chappelle.
We are too few.
I said, ma'am, with all due respect,
Here comes Rocket again.
Chinese people don't buy DVDs. And the crowd went crazy. We were all laughing, having a good time. I didn't even think anything of it. And then just 3 days later, this lady sends a fucking letter to my promoter telling him not to book me for shows because I was, quote, racist. Oh,
I just got more dangerous.
and sensitive to the nature of my interracial marriage.
This is a nice spot.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
If she had just done a little bit of research, she would know I myself am in an interracial marriage.
This is real firepower.
Asian dude. Surprise, bitch. I'll see you on Thanksgiving. But my wife's not Chinese.
Judge, jury,
She's Filipino.
executioner.
That's right. And our kids are Puerto Rican somehow, so there you go. But I don't give a fuck about interracial. In fact, you know what? My mother was happy.
I'll catch you
A lot
up.
of people don't know that. All right, you were a little too excited, but okay.
Relay deployed. It ain't cheap. More bad guys.
A lot of
Just
people
what
don't
we
believe me.
need.
It's true. You can't tell looking at me. But if I grew my hair out,
Behold the god of
my shit is beautiful.
my good deed for the day.
Still a chance to stop them.
Again! You're ready for it.
These are not good times for that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I am a true team
Police
player.
are killing us. It's a very unfortunate set of circumstances because we were doing very well.
Again!
You know, America has a racial hot seat. I think we can all agree that that's the truth.
I'll
And we can
bet
also
you
agree that that hot seat is traditionally occupied by African Americans in general, African American men in particular. Although I concede that in recent years, that seat has been
Someone
occupied
scratch my back.
by Mexicans,
You're
and
ready
I
for
dare say
it.
others. And we, the Black
Armor
Americans,
packed
thank
here.
you both for your sacrifice.
Team play. That's me. Ping the bad guy.
We needed a break. We needed a goddamn break.
You're welcome.
We all go through something. but
Bring
it's like
on
to be
the
my back
chaos.
place.
Relay deployed. It ain't cheap.
Judge, jury, execution.
This is real firepower.
Engineering homework at Baffle High.
This is real firepower.
Terrorist charges. And ISIS is fucking scared. Because if ISIS is welcome, they're going to cut your head off. That's what they did. I've seen them do it on YouTube. It was fucking awful. He looked right at me and said,
Your powers are mine! This is real firepower! Can't beat a thick coat of fur. I'll patch you up.
Behold the god of thunder!
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
You know, everyone has a part, but I think harder than black people, harder than Arab, harder than Mexican, many of the
Relay
worst
deployed. It ain't
fat
cheap.
black people.
See, I'm flunk. You're welcome.
it's hard for white people to understand. That's what I'm saying is very true. Fat black people have a really rough road. But all manner of things kill white people. But you know what kills more black people than anything, more than police and terrorism? Salt, nigga. Regular ass table salt.
Healing. Why would
Here,
I
white
need
people are
you?
getting Ebola cures and shit, and meanwhile I'm dying from fucking the flavoring.
Way to go!
I'll stop talking. Let me say this, though. Let me just say this.
Bring on the chaos.
Can you throw me at the tank? Throw me at the tank.
This is real firepower! This is real firepower!
Judge, jury, executioners!
That's how it starts. Like that Paul Dean, remember Paul Dean got fired from the Food Network? If you know anything about show business, it is really hard to get fired from the fucking Food Network. And they dropped that bitch like a hot potato. All because she called somebody an N-word 30 years before she had a show. I don't know who she said it to, but whoever it was just looking at her like, I'm gonna get you for this bitch. And she came back 30 years later like a Bill Cosby rape and sunk her family shit. And every black person was mad. It's more confusing than it was infuriating. I was just like, this bitch gonna call me a nigga. She told me to eat fried chicken. That's not fair.
Shoot you. Go on, try it.
I think Donald
I'll
Sterling
patch you
more
up.
serious.
What kind of person
used
makes
to own the
nests
Clippers.
of
And
explosive
he got
spiders?
caught on a secretly recorded tape saying some very unsavory things about African Americans. And there's a lesson in there for all of us.
You're ready for action.
The lesson
Give them
is,
another inch.
if you are old,
Your powers are mine!
It's spider time!
don't
It's spider time!
This is real firepower!
That's who made the tape.
Berserker!
She recorded
The
all that
current
shit. And the
score
tape was
is
terrible. He was like,
0,
stop
2,
bringing these
3.
black guys to my games.
Time to switch
First
things
of all,
up,
confused. Like,
including
how the
which
fuck you gonna have a
side you're
game
on.
without us?
Who are you calling a raccoon?
But it
huh?
turned
You'll
out
need a
the black guy
top-notch
he
team
was
to win
speaking
this
of
one.
was none other than Magic Johnson, the billionaire. Unbelievable. Never even mentioned the fact that he had AIDS, which is the first thing I would have said to my girlfriend. This guy must be really racist if AIDS is the footnote. Well, you gotta be careful, baby. He got the old Ebola.
Round 2.
Best friends are crooks and villains. Armor patch here. Pay up.
You can say what you want about that girl, but I'm gonna tell you right now, she is a goddamn
30
hero.
seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Because you might have thought these things were happening before, but now you can see it all in front of you without a shadow of a doubt.
What,
that
humans?
shit actually went
They
down.
don't understand anything
She
because
sucked
they
that
never
old guy's
listen.
dick. She really took one for the team on that one. It's really gross. This dick is like 80 years old. It's like tasting history.
The battle starts in 5.
Like 5 wars
4,
on it, civil rights
3,
movement,
2,
Great Depression.
1.
This
All
guy's
you
been
need to do
fucking
is capture the
for
mission
40 years
area.
before Bill
Got it?
Cosby's first rape. This is a very old man.
Different battlefield.
Very old penis.
Enemy Enemies
But
on
all that
approach.
shit is still just name calling. Like, name calling does not break the modern black man. That's not going to do the trick. You give a fuck about that. Like, if I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and for some reason, everyone behind the counter had a Ku Klux Klan hood on top of their head, like a tree thing going to do anything. When I Kentucky Fried Chicken, not if I'm hungry.
Relay deployed.
I'll go straight to the front. Hey, man, let me get the 2 piece. I don't give a fuck what he says. He want a biscuit with that nigga.
Don't mind me. I'm just
I thought he came
lying.
with the biscuit. What's all
You're
this
ready
attitude?
for action.
No thanks,
I want a 2 piece. Chop, chop. You know what it is. But I'm not going to be mad. Why would I be mad? He's the one that's got to work at Kentucky Fried Chicken, not me.
You're ready for action. This is real power.
Executioner!
What if I lived in Austin and I had a white girlfriend? It's possible in Austin. Because as a matter of fact, some people say it's necessary. But that's not the point.
You're ready for action.
And me and my white girlfriend at home one night and we're just doing what lovers do. Maybe she's butt naked and she's down on me, giving me a hand job. I love a good hand job. And she's really jerking me off. You know, getting her obliques nice and tight. I got a huge dick, so she's like, And I'm like, wow. Really
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
I think I'm gonna come. And then she looks at me and goes, "Get my face,
Escort you to Charlotte.
niggas." I know that's a tough one.
You're welcome.
But what do you think I'm gonna do? Hey!
Battlefield ready again.
That's no time for integrity, ladies and gentlemen. I'm busting that nut in her face.
I'll patch you up.
I'll say Magneto! I'm a man of his word. If I say I'm coming, I'm coming. Somebody can shoot me. If I say I'm coming, you still have to.
It's fight!
I'm gonna get some revenge.
Doesn't mean I like getting shot.
You're ready for action.
Get that vehicle moving again!
I'm not gonna say nothing about the police.
Oh, I'm not gonna make it easy. I'll patch you up.
No, you know what though? It's not funny because
Relay deployed.
the old man listens to
Oh, no.
I went to the hotel.
I gotta go grow you from a
I was
twig.
by myself.
This is real firepower. That tree. This is real firepower.
Judge, jury, executioner!
Get out of here. What are y'all waiting for?
Time to vanish. Then I knew it was serious. So I sat down on the bed next to her.
Get that vehicle
I reached in
moving
my pocket, I
again!
pulled some keys out she'd never seen before. She said, just gently placed them in her hands. That's the smooth one. Those are the keys to my shoe. God forbid anything ever happens. If it does, don't worry about it.
That's me. I'll patch you up. I can feel them.
I'm already taking care of it. She was looking at keys.
Relay deployed.
Realize
It ain't
we
cheap.
were actually talking about it. And then she just started to cry harder.
It's spider time!
This is real firepower.
Leave them to Khonshu!
Do you know this bitch looked in the box while I'm alive?
You're ready for action.
Who does that? Oh my God. And then she was mad at me. She said, God damn it, David, I opened that box. I said, you did?
This is real firepower.
I said nothing. She said nothing except your stupid joke.
Judge, jury, executioner!
It's like good jokes. What is this shit? Come join me in my watering place. No, you gotta roll your throat. Join me.
Get that vehicle moving again.
You're welcome.
And now we get to
Does
the
this
board
thing
fight.
even have a gas? Relay deployed. It ain't
What?
cheap.
In this day and time, is there even such thing as a woman or a man?
You're ready for action.
Sensitive question
Down to 30 seconds.
Now listen, women get mad at me. Gays get mad at me. Lesbians get mad at me. So like that. It's true. Transgenders.
This is real firepower.
I've gone too far.
I'll pass you up.
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep
Like I
on to
said,
the
I'm
next
very
one.
worried about it. I'm not even joking. Every time I come out on stage, I be scared. You're looking around the crowd, searching for Knuckles and Adam's apples to see where the threats might be coming from.
You're welcome.
I needed that.
A nigga came up to me on the street the other day. He said, "Be careful, Dave. They after you."
America and Wakanda always stand together.
One day or many days.
That fucking hurt. I'll patch you up.
Watch me go.
That feels better. Armor packs here. Pay up.
That's it. Don't let anything stand in your way. Only 60 seconds
Before I
left.
can say anything about that community, you must know. And I hope you all feel the same way.
You're ready for action.
Indifferent to the suffering of someone else. There's laws, new laws, non-sexual, North Carolina.
It's spider time!
It corresponds with the gender they were assigned.
You're welcome.
The birth certificate.
Unleash! Disappear!
No, it's not a good law.
Your big
It's a
chance.
new law.
Down to 30 seconds.
No American will have to present a birth certificate, take a shit at Walmart
I'll patch you up.
Greensboro, North Carolina, where the baby shot and killed a motherfucker.
This is real firepower.
Judge, jury, executioner!
Together to victory.
Let's keep fighting until we have a winner.
Doing a little shopping with my family. Now, I should tell you, if that ever happens in real life, you should know.
Overtime.
My dreams didn't work out.
Before the sorcerer.
Final score. 2,
Let's say
3.
something goes horribly wrong, and there I am in Walmart with the poor whites rummaging around for mediocre goods and services.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
And then I gotta go to the restroom. So I excuse myself and my family. I go to the men's room. Now I'm standing at the urinal taking a leak. And this is what this law is gonna do. And suddenly, a woman walks into the men's room. I'm gonna be like, that's strange. And then she stands shoulder to shoulder with me at the urinal. I'm gonna be like, ugh, bitch, what's going on with you? And then she hikes her skirt up and pulls a real live meaty dick out. And what do you think I'm gonna say? Thank God she's in here with me. At least now I know my family's safe. No, I'm not gonna feel that way at all. I'm gonna feel very uncomfortable. I would feel better if it was a man with a vagina that backed up to the urinal next to me. I wouldn't even think about that. I'd just be like, that's funny. This guy is peeing out of his butt for some reason. Oh my God, he must be a veteran. Thank you for your service. Your generation is just determined to be angry, mad, Everybody's mad. Back when we were growing up, only black people were mad. Now, everybody's just trying to get in on the act. I try to think to myself, well, when did everyone get mad? And then I realized this happened before we were born. This is a long way to go, but probably started in the Second World War. Think about it. All these black men, millions of black men, leave the United States for the first time, go over to Europe with America's armed forces and fight the Nazis and make more money fighting Nazis than they ever dreamed they would make in the United States. And a lot of those men, while they were in Europe, just to be real, not to be crass, a lot of them probably got their dick sucked by white women. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this was World War II Europe, and these were desperate times, and penises were being sucked for shoelaces and chocolate and very frivolous things. And it's very hard to come back to America and sit on the back of the bus after you've been in the south of France getting your dick sucked for a Crunch bar or some crazy shit like that. That's a life-changing experience. And while that was happening in Europe, here in America, for the first time, women entered the workforce en masse by the millions. All the men were gone. Someone had to run the factory. The ladies did it. That's right. This was the first generation of American women to have independent income en masse. And when the men came back, the women weren't the same. American women had grown. They were uttering phrases that no woman on earth had ever spoken before. Things like no and shut the fuck up and I don't feel like it. And then behind the scenes of that, there was a little-known government agency that started testing mind-controlled drugs on the American public. They fucked up. They tested it for 12 years. They didn't realize these drugs were not mind-controlling. They were mind-expanding. It was LSD and mescaline and shit like that. And for the first time, there was a new school of thought that was chemically induced that made people question the very society they lived in. By 1960, the President of the United States was only 42 years old. Can you imagine? DMX is older than that. And he was gonna usher in a new era of peace. He was gonna avoid the Cold War. He was gonna end segregation. And they blew his fucking brains out in front of everyone in Dallas. This country was never the same. There were 7 more major assassinations in the 60s. Anyone that stood up and said anything was shot down the streets like a fucking dog. Kennedy, King, X, Evers, on and on. You didn't even have to be famous. You could be a college student at Kent State or in Mississippi protesting the Vietnam War, and they shot them too. The 70s were a wild era, and while all this was going on, Bill Cosby raped 54 people. Holy shit, that's a lot of rapes, man. This guy's putting up real numbers. He's like the Steph Curry of rape. Man, that's a lot of rapes. 54. If he had raped 30 less people, that's still 24 rapes. Don't forget, each one of these rapes has 8 hours of sleep in it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's over 400 hours of rape. It only takes 65 hours to get a pilot's license. If rapes were aircrafts, this nigga's Top Gun for sure. And this is precisely the disparity that I wish to discuss. I have a question for the audience. And this is a real question. I'm not joking around. Is it possible that a gay person can be racist? Do you really think so? Of course it's possible. Look at Mike Pence. No, I'm guessing, but I bet you he's gay. And he's not Pride Parade gay either. He's sad gay. Feel bad for him. He looks like one of them gays that prays about it. Jesus, please take these dirty feelings out of my heart. Please, Jesus, make these buttholes ugly to me. I don't want to keep on tasting these dicks. You guys are confusing the emotions. You think I hate gay people, and what you're really seeing is that I am jealous of gay people. Oh, I'm jealous. I'm not the only black person that feels this way. We blacks, we look at the gay community and we go, God damn it, look how well that movement is going. Look how well you are doing. And we've been trapped in this predicament for hundreds of years. How the fuck are you making that kind of progress? I can't help but feel like if slaves had baby oil and booty shorts, we might have been free 100 years sooner, you know what I mean? If Martin Luther King was like, I want everybody to get up on them floats, get your bodies good and shiny. I don't hate gay people at all. I respect the shit out of you. Well, not all of it. I'm not that fond of these newer gays. Too sensitive. Too brittle. Those aren't the gays I grew up with. I miss them old school gays, nigga. Them Stonewall niggas, them the ones that I respect. They didn't take shit from anybody. They fought for their freedom. I respect that shit. I'm not even gay. And I want to be like a Stonewall nigga. Them old school gangster gays, them glory hole niggas, them the ones I like. These new gays don't even know what the glory hole is. It's a hole in the wall the gay contractors built. You wanna know why they put that hole in the wall? I'll tell you, and there's no nice way to say it. Because when they wanna have some fun, they will put their penises in that hole and hope for the best. I respect that shit. There's a lot of courage on both sides of that hole, nigga. I'm not even gay, and I want to try that glory hole out. What if Martin Luther King had to integrate the glory hole? I don't care if it's black lips back there or white lips back there. A mouth is a mouth. A warm, wet mouth. I'm going all the way. You know, I have a great reputation in show business, but in comedy, I'm what's known as a lazy comedian, which is crazy because I work all the time, but that's not why they call me lazy. They call me lazy because I'll do shows sometimes, 20,000 people be in the crowd. And I'll tell a joke, and they'll all look at me like I'm crazy. But 3 or 4 people will laugh really hard. And I'll be on stage like, yeah, that's good enough. Well, this next joke is one of those jokes that... It's not, you know what I mean? I like to tell it, but it never does good. But I'm gonna do it. You know why it doesn't do good? I'm not good at impressions, but this is an impression. You ready? Okay. This is not gonna work. All right, this is my impression. It's my impression of the dead people on the Titanic. You didn't let me finish. This is my impression of the dead people on the Titanic as the submersible was approaching their ship. That's good enough. All right, here it goes. I'm gonna do it. Okay, here it goes. Come, join us in our watery grave. Oh, buddy, that's funny to me. Listen, that is a funny way to die. 20 years from now, on my 70th birthday, I'm going to take a submersible to see the submersible. Hopefully by then it should work. My wife hates that joke. You know, do you know this strip club in D.C. called Camelot? Is that still open? Yes. Well, I know what I'm doing after the show. I gotta tell you, the other day my wife called me creepy. You know, I frequent strip clubs. I don't want, you know, it's something I like to do. And my wife said I was creepy because I go to strip clubs by myself. Is that creepy? I think that's better than going with the fellas. That's creepy to me. Hey, y'all, let's all go to the strip club and get our dicks hard together as a group of friends. Drive home in a quiet car and not talk about any of the things we've seen or done. No, nigga, I go by myself. But my wife doesn't understand why I go to the strip club. It has nothing to do with sex, you understand? I need a pinch of sexual energy in a room to relax, but it's more about being out. I like the music. A few naked chicks in there, it just makes me feel good, but I'm not trying to like socialize or meet anybody. You know, sometimes I go to the strip club and I bring a book. I do, and I sit right by the stage because the reading light is better. One time I went to a strip club, and this is weird. I don't know why. The stripper, for some reason, told me her real name. I know, so I left. She didn't understand. She was like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Good night, Deborah." God bless her, but my wife is mistaken about my life. She told me once she thinks my job is fun. My job is a job. I'm fun. It's too dangerous, man. A couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to be in Flint, Michigan for a charity benefit that was supposed to raise awareness for the appalling condition of the water in Flint. I don't know if you know this, but the water in Flint is fucking poisonous. It's actually making people sick. I mean, Hollywood people like, so what? At least they have water. But this water... This water's fucked up. So a lot of black celebrities flew into Flint, and they did a tremendous charity benefit, and I was on the schedule to appear. So the reason a lot of people haven't heard about this benefit, it was the same day as the Oscars. Right, I know. So I was on my way to the airport to go to Flint, and then Chris Rock calls me and is like, "Hey, Dave, I got a ticket for you for the Oscars. Can you make it?" And I was like, "Sure, nigga, I'm on my way to the airport right now." Oh, come on, man. What am I gonna do about that water? What am I, a fucking superhero? I need to have fun. I need to live too. I didn't fuck that water up. Stevie Wonder was there. They didn't need me. I'm sorry, everybody. I've never been to the Oscars. You've seen the movies I make. I was excited as fuck. I knew I was gonna get in some trouble because when I was walking in the red carpet, the black press came after me. "Excuse me, brother." When you hear somebody call you brother too much, something terrible's about to happen. "Excuse me, brother. And then I looked back and the motherfucker had a tuxedo with the kente cloth tie. I said, "Uh-oh." He said, "I just want to ask you a couple questions." I said, "What publication are you with?" He said, "Me, I'm with the Daily Bongo." I said, "Daily Bongo? What the fuck? Who the fuck reads this?" He said, "Listen, brother, I just want to ask you a quick question. You understand that this year, this is a boycott for the Oscars, so I'm just wondering what made you, of all people, cross the motherfucking picket line and be here tonight." I said, "Boycott? Nigga, I haven't been working in 10 years. What do you mean boycott? I've been on strike. Y'all niggas didn't stop working. I had to watch fucking Key and Peele do my show every night. Fuck the Daily Bongo is what I said. I went to Oscars and had a wonderful time. I went in that fucking green room. It was filled with so many stars, I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. Hollywood was seducing me all over again. I was sitting back there, I'm smoking, drinking with the stars. And then 2 Hollywood movie producers came over right to me. Oh my God, Dave Chappelle, said the leader one. He was obviously gay. Some guys you can just tell. The other one seemed like a money guy, like maybe he was from Texas or some shit. But the gay one was definitely the leader, because he did all the talking. And then he hit me with, so David, do you have any movie ideas that you would like to pursue? The truth is, I don't. But if you know the game, you're not supposed to tell motherfuckers you don't have ideas. I was like, yeah, man, I got plenty of ideas. And he called my bluff. Really? Like what? Huh? Oh. And then I just started making up shit that I thought maybe he'd like to see. I said, I have a superhero idea. He goes, really? I go, yeah, he's a gay superhero. He was like, really? What's it called? Huh? Oh, it's called Same Hero, New Boots. It's about a gay sous chef in San Francisco. He gets bit by a radioactive rat on his shift when he's taking out the trash, and is blessed with powers beyond his wildest dreams. Supersonic, gay kind of powers. And he starts saving everybody in San Francisco. But at first, he only saves gay people. Later, he saves everybody, and the whole city just falls in love with him. The only problem is, no one remembers him when he saves them. Well, I don't understand. Why wouldn't they remember him? I said, because, dummy, he's gay. He keeps changing his outfit. People come up, thanks for saving, mister. What's your name anyway? And he's like, same hero, new boots, and that motherfucker flies away. He's like, I like it a lot. The Texan didn't like that shit at all. He was upset. That's impossible, gay superhero. I said, what? Well, I have others. I have a superhero you love, because he's stronger than Superman, and he fights for truth, justice, and the American way like Superman, but more than Superman. He beats up Mexicans for no reason. The Texan's like, you got my attention. I was like, man, this motherfucker is so strong, he can fly and do all this great shit. Only problem with this guy is he can't even activate his powers unless he touches a woman's vagina. Not a long touch, just a couple of pats. He said, well, what's the problem with that? I said, well, the problem, sir, is that our hero is not, he's not a handsome man. And he's often short on cash. So whenever trouble breaks out, he has to run around the city and convince women to let him pat their vaginas. Please, miss, that building's on fire. Can I pat your vagina quickly? People are dying, but he can't tell them exactly why. Ugh, get away, you're gross. Please, miss, people are dying. Just a couple of pats. Ugh, gross, get away. So he rapes them. I know. That's the dilemma for the audience. Because he rapes, but he saves a lot of lives. And he saves way more than he rapes, and he only rapes to save. But he does rape. I didn't realize it, but the whole green room was looking at us. All the celebrities were disgusted. Oh. That guy from Texas was like, here's my card. Call me on Monday. Yo, Yo, he is lunching, nigga. I watched Donald Trump in a press conference, and this motherfucker had all the media gathered, and this nigga literally asked the media to their face to stop finding shit out. I was like, yo, this motherfucker is bugging. And then, I'm not even making this up, his lips started sweating. His lips. Have you ever seen a motherfucker's lips sweat? What the fuck is wrong with this nigga's lips? It's like if you're on a plane, right? You ever been on a plane? I get scared to fly. I do it all the time. I be scared on there. And sometimes the plane will hit turbulence. And then I get nervous. But I always look at the flight attendant, and she looks calm, and it makes me feel calm. But if that bitch's lips were sweating, it's terrifying. Like, yo, nigga, why are your lips sweating? What do you know? And then, I'm not even making this shit up. This motherfucker grabbed the podium, he goes, you don't know how scary the things I read in my briefings are. And I was like, holy shit, man, you ain't supposed to tell us that, bro. That's bad leadership. Even as a parent, you think I'm gonna sit my kids down? Hey, little man, come here real quick. I just wanna holler at you for a second. Yo, I'm 3 months behind on the rent, nigga, and I am worried. Very worried. Gonna go to school and have a productive day, nigga. I was just thinking out loud, getting some shit off my chest. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? This is bad, man. Jesus Christ. All this motherfucker's ideas sound like high people ideas. Like he doesn't think these things through before he tells us. He just tells us what he's thinking as soon as it occurs to him. This shit sounds nuts. I'm gonna go to China and I'm gonna get those jobs from China and bring them back here to America. For what, nigga? So iPhones can be $9,000? Leave that job in China where it belongs. None of us want to work that hard. The fuck is he thinking? I want to wear Nikes. I don't want to make them shits. What the fuck are you doing? Stop trying to give us Chinese jobs. I am going to bring back coal. Coal? I'm not even exaggerating. I have never in my life even seen a fucking lump of coal. I honestly don't even know what coal is for. If you're gonna have motherfuckers digging around in the dirt looking for shit, find me some truffles, nigga. That's what I'm about. And these truffle prices are getting out of control. If it gets any worse, I'm gonna be back down to regular butter like everybody else. Terrible, terrible job. This motherfucker hit North Korea with rap battle threats. Fire and fury, like, yo! Yo, what are you doing? It's fucking Korea, man. Kim Jong-un is a scary motherfucker. He might be as crazy as Trump. Some scary shit. And if you one of them naive motherfuckers that thinks that a war with Korea is gonna be easy, then you don't play Call of Duty at 3 a.m. like I do. Because that's when the Koreans play. Fucking 8-year-old Korean kid took out my whole goddamn platoon last night. I've never seen somebody in an office so high with the most just basic fucking solutions. Like, you know, we should not let any more Muslims in the country till we can figure out what's going on. Did he just say, figure out what's going on? Who doesn't know how to do basic math? Let's count it out, okay? There's been 17 mass shootings in the United States. 4 of them were done by Muslims. None of those 4 Muslims were from any of the 7 countries in your stupid ass original band. And since he brought it up, the other 13 shootings were done by the Tiki Torch whites. These are facts. And you don't see me trying to ban white people from the show to keep the rest of the audience safe. It's a fucking terrible idea because it's mean and it's racist, and most importantly, it would be catastrophic to my bottom line. If there were no white people here tonight, I might leave this bitch with $1,800. This man needs to realize that we all need each other. And that's why we will never, ever be able to beat China. Because everybody in America is racist, and everybody in China is Chinese. This motherfucker called it all wrong. And don't believe the media either, because as all this shit is happening, the media is trying to make us believe that the extremities amongst us are the norms. We can disagree, that's fine. And most of us are keeping a cool head about this shit. I hate guns, personally. I can't stand them. Yeah, but I have several. I don't want them, but I feel like I need them. Don't forget where I live. I live in Ohio. And anyone that knows anything about Ohio knows that even the word Ohio is an old Native American word. It means, literally, land of poor white people. And I don't know what's going on down here, but in my experience, poor white people love, and I mean they fucking love, heroin. They can't seem to get enough of it. I didn't even know what I was looking at first. I was just driving like, why are all these white people so sleepy out here? These things. It's really bad. As a matter of fact, I was coming out of a nightclub the other night in Dayton, and I'd parked my car in the alley, and no one was out there. I didn't have no bodyguards or nothing. I was home. I figured everything was fine. And as soon as I opened my car door, all by myself, suddenly, one of these heroin-addicted whites just pops out of a trash can. It scared the shit out of me. I screamed, ah! And then I realized it was a woman. She was fucked up. She's like, hey, man. Hey, man, relax, okay? I'm sick, all right? I need some drugs, man. Please, I'll suck your dick for $5, man. I was like, ugh. 2. Obviously, I'm joking. This opioid crisis is a crisis. I see it every day. It's as bad as they say. It's ruining lives. It's destroying families. Sadly, you know what it reminds me of, seeing it? It reminds me of us. These white folks look exactly like us during the crack epidemic. You know, it's really crazy to see. And all this shit they talk about on the news about how divided the nation is, I don't believe it. I feel like nowadays we're getting a real good look at each other. It's wild because I even have insight into how the white community must have felt watching the black community go through the scourge of crack. Because I don't care either. Hang in there, whites. Just say no. What's so hard about that? Remember when y'all said that to us? But it's okay. There's no grudges. Now you finally got it right. Once it started happening to your kids, you realize it's a health crisis. These people are sick. They are not criminals. They are sick. Be that as it may, I'm armed to the teeth. First gun I bought was a 12-gauge shotgun. I didn't want the gun. Remember, though, I'd moved to a farm, and I was sitting there on the porch, and I see a white dude walking across my property, entitled, like he's supposed to be there. He had a rifle over his shoulder, too. Ain't that a bitch? I said, what the fuck is this guy doing on my property? I was mad as shit, but I was unarmed. So I ended up just waving to this motherfucker like a bitch. I was just like... And as soon as he got far enough away, I ran to my car and sped to Kmart. This is in a rural white area. And remember, I was nervous because a guy was on my property, I'm black, and I was sweaty. You know what I mean? And I ran to the gun counter, black and sweaty, sweating and black, and I looked up at the nigga, I was like, I look like a slave or something. I said, I need a gun immediately, like that, just like that. The guy didn't answer, no questions. He just grabbed a 12-gauge shotgun, handed it to me. I'd never even held a gun before. I'm not a dummy. I'm like, well, I need some bullets, too. And the guy reached under the counter, put 2 box of shells on the counter. He said, all right, buddy, which box do you want? And I didn't know. One box had a picture of some ducks on it. And the other box had a picture of some deer. I said, well, what's that box with them ducks? He said, oh, that there's birdshot. And then he goes just like this, I'm not exaggerating, he goes, that won't kill a man. He said, it'll just pepper him up nicely. I said, what the fuck? Pepper? You know what it means to pepper a motherfucker up? It means that when the shell explodes, hot BBs will shoot out of the barrel of the gun, not killing a motherfucker, but penetrating their skin and shallow flesh. Boy, that's gotta hurt. Hot BBs? Ha, ha! Remember when Dick Cheney shot a motherfucker in the face and he lived? That was birdshot. I said, well, what's that box with the deer on it? He goes, oh, that there's buckshot. That'll put a hole in the goddamn truck if you wanted to. So which box do you want? And he picked the one with the deer up and shook it. I thought he was trying to trick me. I was like, do you have a box with a picture of a white dude trespassing on it? Because it's exactly the strength I'm looking for. But I didn't know that if you're defending your home with a shotgun, the formula dictates that you're supposed to buy both boxes. This was not a formula that I was familiar with. It goes like this. The 6 shots in a 12-gauge shotgun, so when you load the gun, you load it like this. First shot, bird shot. Next shot, buck shot. Bird shot, and then after that, gun's Jamaican. Buckshot, buckshot, buckshot. She got to picture it, okay? Like, say I'm in bed and sleeping, and suddenly my wife wakes me up. David, wake up. And I'm like, oh, look who's come around. And I pull my dick over the top of my pajamas. And she says, no, I hear something. I go, oh, this bitch. So I get up out of bed. Grab the gun. I say, wait here, baby, I'll go check it out. Just lock the door behind me. Oh my God, she's right. Right there in the kitchen is a heroin-addicted white, and he's digging through the change jar by the door. I worked really hard for that change. I gotta do something. So first, I wrap the shotgun. Hey, motherfucker, click, clack. That's a test. That click-clack sound will stop a rational human being in their tracks. But sure enough, this person is not rational. They're sick on drugs. They're digging in the change. I gotta act fast. This nigga's almost got $1.50. I warned you, birdshot. And there it goes. Hot BBs will permeate his yellow heroin skin. Remember, I'm not killing him, I'm just peppering him up nice. He lets out a heroin scream. And that should be the end of it. But, uh-oh, I miscalculated. While he's on the ground screaming, I noticed that his teeth are horribly miscolored. That's not heroin.